This is a video guide to Kerrigan's abilities in Heart of the Swarm. Basically the way it works is you can pick one ability from each tier, and in this video I want to discuss all the abilities as well as give you what I think are some of the best builds, and then I'll show you one particular build in action. So the first tier, there's Kinetic Blast, which deals 300 damage to a target unit or structure from a long range. Heroic Fortitude, which gives Kerrigan 200 max life and increases her life regeneration rate. And Leaping Strike, which deals damage, but also gives Kerrigan 10 damage and takes her range down by 3, from what I believe is 6. In this tier, I think Kinetic Blast is definitely by far the best ability. Leaping Strike is not bad, but reducing Kerrigan's range is not very good in my opinion. It makes her way more vulnerable. I like to keep her alive, and I like to use her to assault really fortified positions, so the range decrease doesn't sell me on that. And even though it does boost her damage, once you're level 70, that plus 10 damage is not very much. Same thing with Heroic Fortitude. Once you have Mend, the healing ability, the life regeneration means nothing, and when you have 800 life, an extra 200 is not that big of a deal. Okay, so in the second tier, there's two options here. One is Psionic Shift, and one is Chain Reaction. And Crushing Grip, it's not very good. Chain Reaction is practically as good as Crushing Grip. The 3-second stun is not bad, but the Leviathan has a bigger stun that lasts 5 seconds, and that's what I'm going to recommend. So if you want to stun, you can get it from the Leviathan. That kind of makes that not great. But Psionic Shift, it's not so much the ability that's good, it's the fact that as a passive it increases Kerrigan's movement speed by 30%. That means all the time Kerrigan's moving faster if you select this. Chain Reaction is good too, and which one of these you pick, I think it depends on how your higher tiers go. There's a couple options here, and we'll come back to that. In this third tier, I think Automated Extractors is this hands down the best one. Zergling Reconstitution sounds interesting, but it's really weak. It only respawns 10 Zerglings every 30 seconds. That's barely any. Like, you'd have to wait 5 minutes, or 10 minutes almost, before you had a large enough Zergling force to do any damage. The problem is, in practically every map, there's lots of Hellbats, Firebats, Flame Turrets, and Archons. So Zerglings are just kind of weak unless they're backed up by other units. So you're not just going to throw away Zerglings. Not too often anyway, in my experience. Improved Overlords, I mean, it's not bad. Actually, before you get this third tier, I actually like Improved Overlords because it means you have to spend less money on Overlords. Automated Extractors is definitely the best because not only does it let you get extractors without drones, but that means you're not spending the money on those drones. Those drones are harvesting resource minerals instead of gas, and it means you have to dedicate less total supplies to drones in general. And finally, Zerg are usually tight on gas more so than minerals, unless you're using like mass Zerglings. So what you can do is you can throw down an extractor and an expansion before you've actually expanded there with a hatchery, and you'll start harvesting gas. So that's actually really nice. In the fourth tier, Mend is just hands down the best. It's probably the best ability out of everything on here. You can use it constantly. It only has an 8-second cooldown, and it heals Kerrigan's health pretty quickly. Out of these two, Wild Mutation sounds like it could be really good, but it's really not. It has a long cooldown, and it has a very small area of effect, but the real problem is it only lasts 10 seconds, and 10 seconds, that's in-game seconds, that's not 10 real-life seconds. Like Starcraft 2 seconds are faster, so it really only lasts like 7 or 8 real-life seconds. If you're using it on like Zerglings, where it would make sense to use it on, they don't really have that much uptime, so it's not nearly as good as you might think. I actually like spawn Banelings before you get Mend, and I like spawn Banelings as well on missions where you don't get to macro, because the Banelings are basically free units you can spawn. So like when you're on like the Conviction mission where it's just Kerrigan and a handful of units, spawn Banelings is actually pretty good, because it lets you get Banelings in a mission where you're otherwise limited by units. Okay, so in this tier, Twin Drains in general is going to be the best one, and the reason is that basically when you make a drain, how it works is when you make a drain, you get 2 drones, and they only cost 1 supply each. So if you were in a mission where you had 60 drones or 40 drones harvesting minerals, you'd have 20 to 30 extra supply freed up. So it makes macroing so much faster. Investment efficiency, if you have automated extractors, you can always seek out extra extractors, like I had mentioned before, without putting a hatchery down. So this is not that good. I mean, it's good, but it's nothing like Twin Drones. And Malignant Creep is actually not bad. Basically, it gives you more life regeneration when you're on Creep, and it increases the attack speed of your units by 30 seconds on Creep. And finally, Creep Teamers spread faster and further. Basically, what you can do is, on certain missions where the enemy is heavily defended, you can actually spread the creep into their base with Kerrigan, and she'll actually get that 30% increased attack speed when she's on offense. So it's actually really neat, and I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you that in a demo. Okay, so here, Infest Broodlings, it's just not good. It doesn't compare to the other two. And these are both pretty good, Fury and ability efficiency. Fury gives Kerrigan up to 75% increased attack speed, whereas ability efficiency reduces the cooldown and energy cost of Kerrigan's abilities by 20%. So ability efficiency is really nice because it lets you get the Leviathan out 60 seconds earlier, but it also reduces the cooldown on Mend and Kinetic Blast. So it lets you heal yourself faster and Kinetic Blast more. So it's actually really good. Fury, on the other hand, I mean, it can let Kerrigan do a lot of damage, so it really depends on how the mission's set up. Both of these can work. Drop Pod, the final tier, Drop Pods basically gives you Primal Zerg, which means they don't have any of the, you know, if you have the roaches with the Vile Shrine where they make it so that the enemy takes poison damage, or the one that stuns their attacks, you don't get any of those benefits from the Drop Pods because they're Primal Zerg. So really, this is not a very good ability. Apocalypse looks interesting, but it takes 3 seconds to cast, and it doesn't kill units like Thor's, and it really doesn't kill most structures. And on Brutal Mode, most Terran structures auto-repair, so really Leviathan is by far the best. It deals really good damage, it attacks both air and ground units at the same time, and it has 2 good abilities. So what build I like to use is, so if we're going to use Fury, I like to use Chain Reaction, but if we're going to use ability efficiency, we can use Sonic Shift, because Chain Reaction is going to benefit more from this increased attack speed, whereas ability efficiency and Sonic Shift pair really well, because Kerrigan can kite, you want her to move faster here. So what I'm going to recommend doing is, we're going to try the first build. And I usually use Twin Drains instead of Malignant Creep, but I just wanted to show you that this can work. And we're going to start the final mission on Brutal Mode, and I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about with the creep spread. Where basically you can spread the creep into the Terran base, and with Fury, with Kerrigan, she attacks very fast and does quite a bit of damage. Okay, so
Retribution.
The only thing is you have to give up Twin Drones to get this, so it's not like a must-have. It's just a cool thing you can use that's a little different.
You never should have come back to Cole. You are surrounded by the Dominion's elite.
And yet they still won't be enough to save you.
So what you can do is, once you're on this creep, you're doing 30% faster attack speed, and with Fury, you can see how fast Kerrigan attacks. It's kind of ridiculous.
The form conquers all. No time like the present. It is. What is it this time?
So you can even spread this creep on offense. This is what I was talking about. So that you're actually damaging enemy buildings, and Kerrigan just does so much damage when you have the creep spread like this. And with the chain reaction, it works pretty well too.
Our conquest continues. Your defenses could use some work, Arcturus.
You'll pay for that.
Is it this time? I am the sworn. No, it can't be.
So you can see Kerrigan, as I was saying, with this particular build, Kerrigan does so much damage. I'm just going to keep playing it out so you can see when the Leviathan spawns how effective this is.
I had other things to do.
All right. Keep that left flank clear while I go put a hurt on Mengsk. Speak.
Taking fire. They're focusing on us.
Hold on, Jim. We're coming. It is time. Retribution.
Our forces are under attack.
What is it this time? Retribution.
Your swarm is assaulting Terran forces in 3 entrenched positions. If you can attack these positions from behind and destroy them, we will join the slaughter. Our allies' base is threatened. Our allies are in combat.
Our conquest continues. The way is clear, Zagara. Move your troops into the sector.
With pleasure, my queen.
So you can see the Leviathan attacks both ground and air units at the same time. So this is what I was talking about. With Kerrigan, you can, or with the Creep tumor ability, you can spread it so that Kerrigan's pretty much always on it. And the Leviathan does attack ground units. The ground is the tentacle, and that thing flying in the air is its anti-air attack. But the cool thing about it is that it can attack both at the same time with no decrease in DPS. Like they're separate attacks. So this is one Kerrigan build you can try out. Like I said, you might think that the Malignant Creep is not better than Twin Drones, but if you're spreading it on offense like this, it's actually very good. So, sorry about that background noise, by the way. But this is the guide to Kerrigan's abilities, and I am gonna end the video now.